When we think about World War II in the Pacific, images of devastation often come to mind. Cities flattened by bombs, civilians caught in the crossfire, and eventually, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But here's a surprising fact. For most of the war, the United States didn't bomb Japan's major cities at all. Why? Why didn't the US launch massive bombing raids on Japan's urban centers earlier, like they did to European cities? Let's explore the reasons behind this. First, geography played a huge role. Japan is an island nation, thousands of miles away from US air bases. In the early years of the war, the US didn't have the long-range bombers or bases close enough to reach Japan's heartland. The B-29 Superfortress, the plane that would later carry out devastating raids, only became operational in 1944 and required airfields built in the Mariana Islands, which were captured mid-war. Second, US military strategy was focused elsewhere initially. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, America's first priority was to stop Japanese expansion and regain lost territory across the Pacific, islands like the Philippines, Guadalcanal, and Midway. The war in the Pacific was fought island by island, inching closer to Japan. Large-scale strategic bombing campaigns against Japan's cities weren't feasible until the US had secured forward bases. Third, there was the question of technology and tactics. Early bombing missions used high-altitude precision bombing, which was difficult over Japan's often cloudy skies and with limited intelligence. Results were mixed, and many missions missed their targets. It wasn't until 1945, when American forces switched tactics to low-altitude nighttime firebombing, that they caused widespread destruction in Japanese cities like Tokyo. But why didn't the US bomb earlier to try to shorten the war? There were moral, political, and practical considerations. Japan's civilian population was protected to some degree by the difficulty of launching effective bombing raids. And there was still hope that Japan might surrender under pressure from a combination of military losses, blockade, and diplomatic negotiations before a full-scale bombing campaign devastated cities. Finally, the entry of atomic bombs changed everything. The US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, forcing Japan's surrender and bringing the war to an abrupt end. In hindsight, the limited bombing of major Japanese cities before 1945 was a combination of logistics, evolving strategy, and the realities of technology at the time. So, while the destruction of Japan's cities is often remembered as a defining moment of the war's end, for most of WWII, the US simply didn't have the means or the opportunity to bomb Japan's major urban centers extensively.